Bob Lamb, welcome back to my memories of the La Crosse County Amateur Golf Championships. Today we're going to focus on the 2000 County Am, 25 years ago. And it all began with the honorary chair, Mr. Tryphon Heritis. Let me read what I wrote about Tryphon Heritis. Tryphon Heritis remembers the days of hickory shaft irons, smaller golf balls, and mixed bags of clubs. He also recalls his days as a caddy at the old La Crosse Country Club. Heritis also has fond memories of the County Amateur, which he won 3 times. Heritis, 83, remember, in 2000, continues to enjoy golf and plays several times a week. He still has that competitive fire in his eyes, saying he can compete with players of his caliber. Tryph said, "I just love to play golf, but I'm not out to try and prove anything." Heritis, who played on the first golf team at Central High School in La Crosse in 1932, won the County Amateur in 1934 and 1935. 16 years later, in 1951, he won it for the 3rd time. Tryph, I remember when I introduced him at the corporate outing prior to the start of the Men's County Amateur. He was just a joy to be around. Now, let's go look at some of the winners. We had 4 divisions back then, actually 4 separate tournaments. We had the Men's County Amateur, we had the Women's County Amateur, we had a Seniors Division in the County Amateur, and we had a Juniors County Amateur. Let's look at the Seniors first. The winner was Championship Flight Jim DeBoer with 38, 35, 73. First flight went to Howard, nicknamed Sam Barton. Howard Sam Barton with a 78. Second flight winner was Michael DeYo with an 85. Now moving on to the Women's County Amateur, Arminda Utuck won the championship flight with 37, 39, 76. First flight honors went to Roseanne Ringelman with 88, while Cher Peterson took home the second flight trophy with 97. Now let's go to the Juniors County Amateur. The boys in 12 to 13 champ was Andrew Morse with 94. Boys 14 to 15 division was Jeff Kaiser with 75. Jeff was also tournament medalist in the juniors. He shot 38, 37, 75. The boys 16 to 17 division was won by Chris Burmeister with 76. The girls 16 to 17 division was Sarah Loomis with 77. However, she had to win a playoff with Danielle Huff, who also finished with 77. The girls champion in the 14 to 15 division was Emily Stern with 101, while the girls division 12 to 13 age was Elizabeth Warren with 51, 50, 101. The Men's County Amateur was quite an event. It was one of the most exciting, perhaps the most exciting, of all the tournaments held so far. It ended in a three-way tie with Tom Knothe, who shot 74, 73, 147, Jeff Connell, who shot 77, 70, 147, and Joe Hightower, who shot 74, 73, 147. Now, before I tell you about the playoff, let's look at the first, second, and third flight winners. First flight title went to Ron Perzina, with 153. Second flight, Tim Green, 167. And third flight, quite the card, Bob Millis with 172. Bob, after his round when we were interviewing him, Bob says, I went to 6:30 a.m. Mass this morning and asked for a little extra help. Well, he got it. Now let's move to the playoff. But I do want to tell you what happened in regulation, because Joe Hightower and I happened to talk about that recently. Here's what Joe said. I do know there were lots of people following us starting on the 17th hole, and Tom Knothe and I were playing and riding together that day. Joe said, on the 17th hole, this is at Drugan's now, Castle Mound, I lost the tournament with a bogey on the 17th. The pin was on the right side on a new part of the green. I was 105 yards out, but backed up the ball to the right collar. I had a real chance with a 10 or 15 par putt. Tom's was the same distance. Maybe I was a little farther out, I can't remember. But I know I only made bogey, and I think Tom made par. Then we went to the 18th hole, and Joe said on 18, I had a birdie putt that lipped out that would have won. Tom also had a birdie putt after me, but he also missed. I think Ryan Quinn was one stroke back, playing in the group ahead of us. He may have bogeyed his last hole. Now, we move to the playoff. John Schneider was the general manager and pro at the golf club at Cedar Creek in Onalaska back then, where the first round was played of the men's tournament. But John was also one of our rules officials, and he conducted the three-player playoff. Joe said, before we started the playoff, I remember John Schneider saying, we are going to have someone new in the County Am this year. Okay, let's go. The first playoff hole was number 1, the par 5 at Castle Mound. Joe said, I was the first person eliminated on the first hole in the playoff. I had a bad lie, but was pinned high in 2, but in a low spot. Picture that now, the right side of the green in a low spot. I fluffed it out. I fluffed it and didn't get the ball on the green. I then chipped up on the green, and he said I left my third shot about 10 feet short and missed my par putt. Knothe and Jeff Connell advanced with pars after Connell missed a 4-foot uphill birdie putt to win, according to Hightower. Okay, now, Joe's eliminated, but Tom Knothe and Jeff Connell are still vying for the title. So we're going to the second playoff hole, which was number 8 at Drugan's, coming back towards the clubhouse. But the backdrop on the 8th hole behind the green was Castle Mound itself, and the cliff was way up on the top, But down towards the green, the backdrop was nothing but real thick rough. And Joe said, it was number 8, par 4. Joe said, because Joe was watching, Joe said, Tom hit his ball on the green from about 100 yards out. Jeff hit his ball over the green in the real thick rough on the hill. It was really bad back there then. He took a couple of shots to get it on the green and then double bogeyed. Tom 2-putted for par and the win. There it was. Tom Knothe won the 2000 title. What's so important about this is 2000 marked the first time a father and a son won the La Crosse County Amateur Golf Championship. Tom Knothe's father, Jack, won the 1950 title. Joe said, Tom's dad won it 50 years ago. Now he wins it. I think that's neat. Thank you, Joe, for reflecting on this. I also asked Joe, I said, do you remember your most memorable shot in all the county Ams you have played? He said, yeah, the one prior to that year, 1999. So next time, join us when we come back and we talk about the 1999 County Amateur and Joe Hightower's memorable shot. Bob Lamb, thanks for joining us.